Have you ever stopped to consider that the very law you doubt is the same law that is creating the circumstances you are experiencing right now? That even in your uncertainty, even in your questioning, even in your disbelief, there operates within you a power so fundamental, so unwavering, so absolutely obedient to your inner convictions that it cannot help but produce in your outer world the exact equivalent of what you have impressed upon it? This mental law does not ask for your permission. It does not wait for your understanding. It does not pause when you question its existence. It is working now as you listen to these words. It was working yesterday when you felt wealthy or when you felt poor. It will be working tomorrow whether you consciously direct it or allow it to run wild with the weeds of negative assumption. The question is not whether this law exists. The question is whether you will take dominion over it and use it correctly, or whether you will continue to misuse it through ignorance and wonder why your life does not reflect the abundance that is your birthright. This message is not for the curious alone. It is for the soul who has grown weary of struggle, who senses that there must be a better way, who is ready to discover that within the quiet chambers of their own mind lies a creative power that, when properly directed, can transform poverty into provision, lack into abundance, and fear into unshakable faith. If you feel that stirring within you now, that quiet yes rising from the depths of your being, then I invite you to subscribe to this channel. For you have found a sanctuary of truth where the ancient wisdom of the subconscious mind is unveiled without apology and without compromise. Press the like button now, not as a mere gesture, but as an act of faith, a declaration that you are ready to align yourself with the law of abundance. And as you listen, when the truth resonates in your heart, leave a comment with these words: "The law is working for me now." Speak it into existence. Let it be your declaration. This is the beginning of your transformation. You live in a mental universe. Everything you see, everything you touch, everything you experience in what you call the outer world is a hardened shadow of what first existed as an idea, a belief, a feeling in the invisible realm of mind. This is not poetry. This is not philosophy for the sake of abstract thought. This is a fundamental structure of reality itself, and once you grasp this truth with the fullness of your understanding, you will never again feel powerless in the presence of external circumstance. The world you see is not the cause of your experience. It is the effect, and the cause lies within you, in the silent depths of your subconscious mind, which is even now, in this very moment, outpicturing in your health, your wealth, your relationships, and your daily encounters of some total of your habitual thinking and feeling. There is a law at work in your life that operates with the same precision and reliability as the law of gravity. You do not see gravity, yet you trust it completely. You do not doubt that if you release an object from your hand, it will fall to the ground. You have proven this law so many times that you no longer question it. The mental law I speak of is equally reliable, equally impersonal, equally consistent. It does not matter whether you are rich or poor, educated or uneducated, believer or skeptic. This law responds to your mental imagery and the feeling tone of your habitual thoughts. It does not judge your worthiness. It does not evaluate whether you deserve what you are claiming. It simply creates in your experience the outer equivalent of your inner conviction. And here is the mystery that confounds so many sincere seekers. This law is working even when you doubt it. It is working when you deny it. It is working when you curse it and blame external forces for your conditions. Do you see the profound implication? Your doubt itself is a form of belief. Your denial is an affirmation. Your worry is a prayer for the thing you fear. The subconscious mind does not argue with you. It does not say, "You do not really believe that, so I will not create it." No, it accepts whatever you impress upon it with feeling and conviction, and it begins at once to bring it into manifestation through means you could never consciously orchestrate. Consider the man who says, "I never have enough money. Every time I get a little ahead, something happens and it is gone." He says this with such conviction, such feeling, such repetition that his subconscious mind accepts it as an instruction. And lo, he experiences exactly that pattern, year after year, until he wonders if he is cursed, if the universe is against him, if God has favorites and he is not among them. But the truth is far simpler and far more empowering. He has been using the law incorrectly. He has been impressing his subconscious with images of lack, and his subconscious, being perfectly obedient, has manufactured the circumstances to match. This is not punishment. This is principle. And the glorious news is that the same law that has been working against you through misuse can be turned to work for you through correct application. The power has not been absent from your life. It has been present all along, creating precisely what you have been feeding it. When you understand this, really understand it in the marrow of your being, you will cease blaming the economy, your upbringing, your education, your circumstances, or other people for your financial condition. You will recognize that you are the operator of this law, and you will take full responsibility for what you have been creating, which is a first step toward creating something entirely different. The prophet understood this when he declared, "As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he." Not as he thinks with the surface of his mind, not as he wishes or hopes or desires in fleeting moments, but as he thinks in his heart, in the deep subconscious chambers where belief resides, where feeling dwells, where the images of the mind are sealed with emotional acceptance. That is a level at which creation occurs. And you have access to that level. You are not locked out of the control room of your own consciousness. You can impress new beliefs, new images, new patterns upon your subconscious mind. And when you do so with persistence and feeling, you will witness the transformation of your external world. Let me share with you the story of a woman I will call Margaret, a widow who found herself in desperate financial straits after the sudden passing of her husband. She had no income, no savings, and debts that seemed insurmountable. She wept in the night and feared the future with such intensity that her body began to fail her. One day, a friend spoke to her about the power of her own mind, about the law that was even then creating her experience of fear and lack. At first, Margaret resisted. She said, "How can I think about abundance when I have nothing? How can I feel rich when I am poor?" But her friend persisted, explaining that her current condition was a result of her past thinking, and her future condition would be the result of her present thinking. If she continued to dwell on lack, she would perpetuate it. If she began to dwell on abundance, even in the face of present poverty, she would begin to attract it. Margaret decided to test this principle. Every night before sleep, she would lie in bed and imagine herself financially free. She did not focus on how it would happen. She did not strain to figure out the means. She simply felt the relief, the peace, the gratitude of being provided for. She whispered to herself, "God is my source, and His supply is infinite. I am cared for. I am provided for. All my needs are met abundantly." She repeated this with feeling until she drifted into sleep, impressing her subconscious mind with the image and feeling of financial security. Within weeks, unexpected things began to happen. A distant relative she had not heard from in years sent her a check, saying he felt impressed to help her. An old debt owed to her late husband was suddenly repaid by someone who had denied owing it for months. A skill she possessed, which she had never thought to monetize, became the foundation of a small business that grew steadily and eventually supported her comfortably. She did not win the lottery. She did not inherit a fortune, but the law, working silently and invisibly, arranged circumstances, inspired ideas, and opened doors that she could not have opened through effort alone. Was it magic? No, it was law. The same law that had been creating her experience of lack when she dwelt on poverty was now creating her experience of abundance because she had changed the habitual direction of her thought and feeling. The law itself never changed. It was always working. She simply learned to use it correctly. You must understand that the subconscious mind is completely impersonal. It has no preference for wealth over poverty, health over sickness, success over failure. It is a creative medium that accepts the impress of your conscious thinking and feeling and externalizes it in your experience. It is like soil that will grow whatever seed you plant. If you plant thorns, you will harvest thorns. If you plant roses, you will harvest roses. The soil does not care. It simply does what soil does. It receives the seed and brings forth the harvest. Your subconscious mind is that soil. Your thoughts and feelings are the seeds. And your life, in all its detail, is the harvest. When you truly grasp this, you will become very selective about what you allow to take root in your mind. You will guard your thoughts as a gardener guards his garden. You will refuse to entertain mental images of failure, poverty, rejection, and loss. Not because those things do not exist in the world, but because you understand that dwelling on them impresses them upon your subconscious and invites them into your experience. This does not mean you ignore reality. It means you understand that present reality is a result of past thinking, and you are now engaged in creating a new reality through new thinking. You do not deny that your bank account is low. You deny that it must remain low. You do not pretend that the bills are not due. You affirm that the means to pay them are even now being arranged by the infinite intelligence that governs all things. You shift your focus from the problem to the solution, from the lack to the supply, from the fear to the faith. The scripture says, "Ask, and it shall be given you. Seek, and ye shall find. Knock, and it shall be opened unto you." This is not a promise contingent on external favor. It is a description of how the mental law operates. When you ask with belief, when you seek with expectation, when you knock with confidence, you are impressing your subconscious mind with a conviction that what you desire already exists and is on its way to you. Your subconscious, accepting this impression, begins to align your thoughts, your actions, and your circumstances with the fulfillment of that request. The door opens not because you begged, not because you owned it, but because you used the law correctly. Many people pray for wealth and wonder why it does not come. They say the words, but they do not believe. They ask, but they do not expect. They knock, but they are already turning away, convinced the door will remain closed. And so it does, not because their prayer was unheard, but because their subconscious mind received a mixed message. The word said, "I desire wealth," but the feeling said, "I do not believe I will receive it." And the subconscious, responding to the feeling rather than the words, creates an experience of continued lack. Feeling is a secret. You can affirm abundance 1,000 times, but if you do not feel abundant, if the emotional tone beneath your words is one of desperation and fear, your subconscious will respond to the fear, not the affirmation. This is why the technique of pre-sleep impression is so powerful. In the moments before sleep, you are naturally in a relaxed, receptive state. The conscious mind, with all its doubts and arguments, begins to quiet. The subconscious becomes more accessible. This is the ideal time to impress it with the images and feelings you desire to experience. Lie down in your bed and bring to mind a scene that would naturally occur if your desire were already fulfilled. If you seek financial abundance, imagine yourself reviewing a bank statement that delights you, or paying your bills with ease and joy, or holding in your hand a check that represents the income you desire. Do not imagine the struggle to get it. Do not imagine the steps between here and there. Imagine the end result, the completion, the fulfillment, and as you imagine it, feel it. Feel the relief. Feel the gratitude. Feel the quiet joy of knowing you are provided for. Saturate the image with emotion, for emotion is a language of the subconscious mind. Do this every night. Do it with persistence. Do not look for immediate results in the outer world, and become discouraged if they do not appear overnight. You are dealing with a law that operates in its own time and in its own way. Your job is not to make it happen. Your job is to impress the subconscious and then trust the process. The subconscious knows how to bring about the fulfillment of what you have impressed upon it. It will use means you never thought of, open doors you did not know existed, and bring people and opportunities into your path that seem to arrive by coincidence but are in fact the perfect orchestration of the law. There was a young man I will call David who worked in sales and struggled month after month to meet his quota. He watched his colleagues succeed while he failed, and he began to believe that he simply did not have what it took. He considered leaving the profession altogether. But before he did, someone introduced him to the principle of mental impression. David decided to give it one sincere, concentrated effort. Every night for 30 days, he imagined his sales manager congratulating him on exceeding his quota. He saw the numbers on the board. He felt the handshake. He heard the words, "Outstanding work, David." He did this with such vividness and feeling that it became more real to him than his present struggle. During those 30 days, nothing seemed to change. In fact, his sales in the first 2 weeks were worse than before. But David persisted. He did not waver. He continued to impress his subconscious with the image of success. Then, in the 3rd week, something shifted. He found himself saying the right words at the right time to clients. He felt a new confidence that he could not explain. Deals that should have fallen through came together. Referrals arrived unexpectedly. By the end of the month, he had not only met his quota but exceeded it by 40%. His sales manager did indeed congratulate him, using almost the exact words David had been imagining every night. Was this luck? Was it coincidence? Or was it the precise operation of a law that David had finally learned to use correctly? You know the answer. The law had always been working. When David was imagining failure and feeling inadequate, the law produced failure. When he began imagining success and feeling confident, The law produced success. The power was always within him. He simply redirected it. You have that same power. Right now, as you listen to these words, the law is working in your life. It is creating your tomorrow based on what you are thinking and feeling today. If you are dwelling on debt, on bills, on lack, on fear, you are instructing your subconscious to perpetuate those conditions. If you are dwelling on abundance, on provision, on the infinite supply that flows from the divine source, you are instructing your subconscious to bring those conditions into your experience. The law does not judge which instruction is better. It simply obeys. This is why you must become vigilant over your mental and emotional states. You must become aware of what you are habitually thinking and feeling about money, about wealth, about your worthiness to receive. If you find yourself thinking thoughts of limitation, stop. Consciously replace them with thoughts of abundance. If you find yourself feeling anxious about finances, stop. Breathe deeply and affirm that you are surrounded by infinite supply and that all your needs are met in divine order. This is not denial of reality. This is a creation of a new reality. The scripture tells us, "Fear not, little flock, for it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom." Do you believe that? Do you believe that the infinite intelligence that created the universe, that holds the stars in their courses, that causes the sun to rise and the seasons to turn, takes pleasure in your prosperity? Or do you believe that you must struggle and strain and earn every penny through the sweat of your brow alone? If you believe the latter, you are operating under a false belief, and that false belief is limiting your experience. The truth is that you are an individualized expression of infinite intelligence. You are connected to the source of all wealth, all creativity, all abundance. There is no lack in the universe. There is only lack in human belief. The ocean does not run out of water. The sun does not run out of light. And the infinite does not run out of supply. Your access to that supply is determined not by external conditions, but by your internal acceptance. When you accept in your mind and heart that you are worthy, that you are provided for, that abundance is your natural state, your subconscious mind begins to draw from the infinite reservoir and manifest it in your experience. But acceptance requires more than intellectual agreement. It requires feeling. It requires a kind of inner knowing that does not waver when circumstances seem contrary. This is faith. Not blind faith. Not hope without foundation. But faith based on understanding the law and trusting its operation. You have faith that the sun will rise tomorrow, even though you cannot make it rise. You have faith that spring will follow winter, even though you cannot control the seasons. Develop that same kind of faith in the mental law. Know that when you impress your subconscious with clear images and strong feeling, the law will respond, just as surely as the sun rises. There will be delays. There will be moments when it seems nothing is happening. This is where most people fail. They impress their subconscious for a few days, see no immediate change, and conclude that the law does not work. But consider the farmer. He plants the seed and does not dig it up every day to see if it is growing. He trusts the process. He knows that beneath the surface, invisible forces are at work, and in due season, the harvest will appear. You must have the same patience and trust. Continue to impress your subconscious. Continue to feel the reality of your desire fulfilled. Do not be moved by appearances. Appearances are the result of yesterday's thinking. You are now creating tomorrow's appearances through today's mental activity. The law is always working. It does not take a day off. It does not pause because you are tired or discouraged. Even in your doubt, it is working, creating the outer equivalent of your inner state. When you doubt your ability to prosper, you are using the law to create continued struggle. When you doubt the existence of the law itself, you are still subject to it, and it is still producing in your life the reflection of your habitual mental patterns. You cannot escape this law. You can only choose to use it consciously and correctly, or to misuse it through ignorance and suffer the consequences. Imagine a man who does not believe in the law of gravity. He steps off a cliff, confident that he will not fall because he does not believe in gravity. Does his disbelief protect him? Of course not. He falls just the same, because the law operates independently of his belief in it. The mental law is the same. You may doubt it, deny it, argue against it, but it is still operating in your life, creating your experience based on the content of your subconscious mind. The question is not whether the law exists. The question is whether you will take conscious control of what you are impressing upon your subconscious, or whether you will continue to allow random thoughts, fears, and negative belief to run wild and create chaos in your experience. You are not a victim of circumstance. You are a creator, whether you know it or not. You have been creating all along. Every condition in your life, every relationship, every financial situation, every success, and every failure has been the outpicturing of your inner mental and emotional states. This is not to say that you are to blame for everything that has happened to you. Blame is not the point. Understanding is the point. When you understand that you have been creating through the law, you also understand that you can begin creating something different, starting now. There is no point in the past where you made a mistake that cannot be corrected. There is no limitation in your present that cannot be overcome. There is no future that is fixed and unchangeable. You are always at the beginning of a new creation. The moment you change your habitual thinking and feeling, you change the instruction you are giving to your subconscious mind, and your subconscious begins to create a different experience. This is the meaning of repentance in its deepest sense. Not guilt or regret, but a change of mind, a turning in a new direction, a decision to think and feel differently than you have before. Let us speak plainly about money, for it is money that concerns so many who will hear these words. Money is not evil. Money is not spiritual or unspiritual. Money is a symbol of exchange, a medium through which goods and services flow in human society. The love of money, the obsession with it, the willingness to betray one's integrity for it, these are the dangers. But money itself is neutral, and your prosperity or lack of it is simply the reflection of your subconscious beliefs about money, about your worthiness to receive it, and about the nature of supply. If you were raised to believe that money is scarce, that rich people are greedy, that there is virtue in poverty, that it is difficult to earn a living, then those beliefs are lodged in your subconscious and are creating your financial experience. You may work hard. You may be honest and diligent. Let us speak plainly about money, for it is money that concerns so many who will hear these words. Money is not evil. Money is not spiritual or unspiritual. Money is a symbol of exchange, a medium through which goods and services flow in human society. The love of money, the obsession with it, the willingness to betray one's integrity for it, these are the dangers. But money itself is neutral, and your prosperity or lack of it is simply the reflection of your subconscious beliefs about money, about your worthiness to receive it, and about the nature of supply. If you were raised to believe that money is scarce, that rich people are greedy, that there is virtue in poverty, that it is difficult to earn a living, then those beliefs are lodged in your subconscious and are creating your financial experience. You may work hard. You may be honest and diligent. But if your subconscious is impressed with beliefs of lack and limitation, you will find that money slips through your fingers, that unexpected expenses arise, that opportunities do not come to you, that you are always just getting by. This is not bad luck. This is law. To change your financial condition, you must change your beliefs about money. You must begin to see money as a flowing stream, not a stagnant pond. You must affirm that there is an infinite supply and that you are entitled to your share, not because you are better than others, but because you are a child of the infinite and it is the nature of the infinite to give. You must feel comfortable with the idea of wealth. You must imagine yourself handling money with ease and joy. You must think of yourself as prosperous, provided for, and financially free. This may feel false at first. Your conscious mind may say, "But I am not wealthy. I am in debt. I am struggling." And that is true in the present moment. But the present moment is a result of past thinking. You are now engaged in creating a new future. You are impressing your subconscious with a new image, a new belief, a new feeling. And as you do so persistently, the subconscious will begin to rearrange your outer world to match the inner pattern you are creating. The Apostle Paul wrote, "My God shall supply all your need according to his riches in glory." Not according to the balance in your bank account, not according to the state of the economy, according to his riches, which are infinite. When you align your mind with this truth, when you accept it in your heart, when you feel it as a living reality, you activate the law of supply in your life. Your subconscious mind, connected as it is to infinite intelligence, begins to attract to you the ideas, the opportunities, the people, and the resources that will meet your needs and fulfill your desires. You do not have to know how this will happen. In fact, trying to figure out the how is often a hindrance because it keeps you focused on the limitations of your present knowledge and circumstances. Instead, focus on the what and the feeling. What do you desire? How will you feel when it is yours? Impress that feeling upon your subconscious and trust that the how will be taken care of by wisdom far greater than your conscious intellect. There was a man I will call Thomas who needed a substantial sum of money to save his business. He had exhausted all the conventional avenues. Banks had refused him. Investors had declined. He was on the verge of bankruptcy. In desperation, he turned to the mental law. He did not know where the money would come from, but he began every evening to imagine himself signing papers that secured the funding he needed. He felt the pen in his hand. He saw the signatures. He felt the relief and joy of knowing his business was saved. He did this with such intensity that it became real to him. 1 week later, a former client whom Thomas had not spoken to in over a year called him unexpectedly. During their conversation, the client mentioned that he had recently sold his company and was looking for investment opportunities. He asked Thomas about his business. Thomas shared his vision and his need. The client was intrigued and decided to invest the exact amount Thomas required. The deal was finalized within days, and the business not only survived but thrived. Thomas did not make that phone call happen through conscious effort. He did not manipulate or scheme. He simply impressed his subconscious mind with the image and feeling of his desire fulfilled, and the subconscious, in its mysterious and perfect way, arranged the circumstances that brought the solution to him. This is how the law works. Silently, invisibly, powerfully, you have within you this same power. It is not reserved for the special or the gifted. It is the birthright of every human being, because every human being possesses a subconscious mind that is connected to infinite intelligence. The only difference between those who prosper and those who struggle is the habitual content of their subconscious minds. Those who prosper have, whether consciously or unconsciously, impressed their subconscious with beliefs and feelings of abundance. Those who struggle have impressed their subconscious with beliefs and feelings of lack. Change the impression, and you change the experience. This is not a process that requires years of study or complex techniques. It is simple. Decide what you want. Form a clear mental image of it. Feel the joy of having it. Impress that image and feeling upon your subconscious mind through repetition and emotion, especially in the moments before sleep. Then let go and trust the process. Do not look anxiously for signs. Do not become discouraged by delay. Know that the law is working, just as surely as the law of gravity is working, and that in due season you will reap if you faint not. The scripture says, according to your faith be it unto you. Not according to your education, your background, your connections, or your current circumstances, according to your faith. And faith, in this context, is not religious dogma. It is the inner conviction, the feeling of certainty, the mental acceptance that what you desire is already yours in the invisible realm and is now making its way into the visible. When you have that faith, when you maintain it despite appearances, the law must respond. It has no choice. It is law. You are standing at the threshold of a new understanding. You have discovered that there is a mental law operating in your life at all times, creating your experience based on the habitual patterns of your thought and feeling. You have learned that this law is impersonal, that it works whether you believe in it or not, and that it can be used to create wealth, health, and happiness when you impress your subconscious mind with the right images and feelings. You have heard the stories of those who have proven this law in their own lives, and you have been given the techniques to apply it in yours. Now you must decide. Will you continue to drift along, allowing random thoughts and negative beliefs to dictate your experience? Or will you take conscious control of your mind, guard your thoughts, direct your feelings, and impress your subconscious with clear, vivid images of the life you desire to live? The power is within you. The law is available to you. The results are certain if you apply the principle with persistence and faith. You are not alone in this. The infinite intelligence that created all things is within you, supporting you, guiding you, supplying you with everything you need to fulfill your purpose and experience abundance in all areas of your life. Trust it, believe it, feel it, and watch as your external world begins to reflect the new patterns you are establishing within. The truth I am sharing with you is not new. It is as old as the mountains and as eternal as the stars. It has been whispered in the sacred texts of every tradition, encoded in the parables of the wise, and demonstrated in the lives of those who have risen from poverty to abundance, from sickness to health, from despair to joy. What is new is your readiness to hear it, your willingness to apply it, and your understanding that within the quiet chambers of your own mind lies the key to every door you have ever wished to open. Let us go deeper now into the mechanics of this mental law, for understanding alone is not sufficient. You must know how to apply what you understand. You must become a practitioner of these principles, not merely a student of them. The difference between those who transform their lives and those who simply accumulate knowledge is action. Not frantic, anxious action, but the inner action of impressing your subconscious mind with deliberate intention, and then the outer action of following the guidance that arises from within. The subconscious mind operates through the medium of feeling. This cannot be emphasized strongly enough. You may repeat affirmations 1,000 times, but if there is no feeling behind them, they will not penetrate the subconscious deeply enough to produce lasting change. Feeling is a carrier wave upon which your intention travels into the depths of your inner mind. When you feel wealthy, your subconscious accepts the impression of wealth. When you feel poor, your subconscious accepts the impression of poverty. The words you use are secondary to the feeling that accompanies them. This is why so many people fail in their attempts to use the law of mind. They speak the words of abundance while feeling the anxiety of lack. They affirm prosperity while their hearts are gripped by fear of failure. The subconscious, being the faithful servant it is, responds not to the words but to the feeling. It creates an outer experience the equivalent of the dominant feeling, regardless of what the lips are saying. You must bring your feeling into alignment with your desire if you wish to see that desire manifest in your life. How do you change your feeling? This is the essential question, and the answer is through imagination. Imagination is a workshop of the mind, the place where you can construct any reality you choose and experience it with all the vividness of actual perception. When you imagine a scene with clarity and immerse yourself in it emotionally, your subconscious mind cannot distinguish between the imagined experience and an actual one. It accepts the imagined experience as real, and begins to create corresponding conditions in your outer world. Consider this carefully. Your subconscious does not know the difference between a vividly imagined experience and an actual experience. When you dream at night, your heart races, your breathing changes, you may even speak or move, all because your subconscious is responding to the dream as if it were real. You can use the same mechanism deliberately by creating waking dreams, controlled imaginal acts that impress your subconscious with the reality of your desire fulfilled. Let me share with you the story of a woman I will call Eleanor, who had spent most of her adult life in financial anxiety. She had grown up in a household where money was always a source of stress, where arguments about bills and expenses were constant, and where the underlying message was that there was never enough. Eleanor carried this programming into her adult life, and despite working diligently and owning a reasonable income, she was always anxious, always worried, always expecting the next financial crisis. When Eleanor learned about the power of imagination to impress the subconscious mind, she decided to conduct an experiment. Every evening, she would sit quietly and imagine herself in a state of complete financial peace. She did not imagine piles of money or winning the lottery. She imagined something simpler and more emotionally resonant. She imagined sitting at her kitchen table, opening her bills, and feeling complete calm. She imagined looking at her bank statement and feeling satisfied. She imagined saying to herself, "I have more than enough," and feeling the truth of it in her bones. At first, this felt like a lie. Her conscious mind protested, but Eleanor persisted. Night after night, she returned to this simple scene, immersing herself in the feeling of financial peace. Within a few weeks, she noticed something changing within her. The anxiety that had been her constant companion began to loosen its grip. She found herself worrying less during the day. She began to notice opportunities she had previously overlooked. A small investment she had made years ago began to yield unexpected returns. A side project she had abandoned gained new interest from a buyer. None of these events were miraculous in the dramatic sense, but together they represented a shift in Eleanor's financial reality that corresponded precisely to the shift in her inner state. She had changed her feeling, and her subconscious had responded by changing her circumstances. The law had been working all along. She had simply learned to use it in her favor. You can do the same. Whatever financial condition you are currently experiencing, it is the outpicturing of past impressions on your subconscious mind. You cannot change the past, but you can change the present, and in doing so, you change the future. Begin tonight. Before you sleep, create a simple scene that represents your financial desire fulfilled. Do not make it complicated. Do not strain to visualize every detail. Choose one simple scene that implies the fulfillment of your desire and enter into it with feeling. Perhaps you imagine a friend congratulating you on your success. Perhaps you imagine depositing a large check into your account. Perhaps you imagine paying off a debt and feeling the relief and freedom that comes with it. Whatever scene you choose, make it vivid enough that it engages your emotions. Feel the joy, the gratitude, the peace of having what you desire. Then relax and drift into sleep, allowing the impression to sink into your subconscious mind. Do this every night with persistence. Do not be discouraged if nothing seems to change immediately. Remember the farmer. The seed is planted. The growth is occurring beneath the surface. In due season, the harvest will appear. Your job is to plant the seed and trust the Lord to bring forth the increase. There is another principle you must understand if you are to use this law correctly, and that is the principle of non-resistance. Many people, when they first learn about the power of the mind, begin to fight against their present circumstances. They resist their current reality with all their might, determined to force it to change through sheer willpower. But resistance only perpetuates the thing resisted. What you fight against, you strengthen. What you resist, persists. The correct approach is not to fight against your current circumstances, but to withdraw your attention from them and place it upon the reality you wish to create. This is not denial. This is redirection. You acknowledge that your present circumstances exist, but you do not give them power by constantly focusing on them, worrying about them, or complaining about them. Instead, you turn your mental gaze toward the reality you are creating in your imagination, and you dwell there with feeling and faith. The scripture says, "Resist not evil." This is not an instruction to be passive in the face of injustice. It is a statement of mental law. When you resist something mentally, when you push against it with anger, fear, or frustration, you are impressing your subconscious mind with the very thing you wish to avoid. You are feeding it with your attention and emotion, and attention plus emotion equals manifestation. The wise person does not resist the unwanted condition. The wise person acknowledges it, releases emotional attachment to it, and turns attention toward the desired condition with calm faith. There was a businessman I will call Robert who found himself in a legal dispute that threatened to destroy his company. Every day, he obsessed over the lawsuit. He worried about the outcome. He imagined losing everything. He could not sleep. He could not focus on his work. His health began to decline. He was using the law of mind, but he was using it in reverse, creating through worry the very outcome he feared. A mentor advised Robert to try a different approach. Instead of dwelling on the lawsuit and imagining defeat, he was to spend time each day imagining the dispute resolved favorably. He was to see himself shaking hands with the opposing party, the matter settled, and his business thriving. He was to feel the relief and peace of the situation being behind him. At first, Robert found this nearly impossible. His mind kept returning to his fears. But with practice, he learned to redirect his attention. He learned to feel the reality of the favorable outcome rather than the fear of the unfavorable one. The legal process continued for several months, but Robert's inner state had changed. He was calmer. He was sleeping better. He was able to focus on his business again. And when the resolution came, it was far more favorable than he had dared to hope. The opposing party offered a settlement that not only preserved his company but included terms that actually benefited him. Robert believed, and many would agree, that his inner shift had influenced the outer outcome. By ceasing to resist and beginning to construct a positive mental reality, he had activated the law in his favor. You must learn this art of mental redirection. When you find yourself dwelling on what you do not want, stop, take a breath, consciously turn your attention to what you do want. See it, feel it, accept it as already done in the invisible realm of mind. This is not about pretending problems do not exist. This is about understanding that your attention is creative, and where you place it determines what you create. Let us speak now about the role of gratitude in this process. For gratitude is one of the most powerful states you can cultivate to accelerate the manifestation of your desires. Gratitude is not simply a nice emotion to have. It is a creative force. When you feel grateful, you are in a state of receiving. You are open. You are acknowledging abundance. You are affirming that you have been blessed. And this state of mind impresses your subconscious with the reality of blessing, which then creates more conditions for which to be grateful. Many people have the equation reversed. They believe they will be grateful when they receive what they want. But the law operates in the opposite direction. You must be grateful first in order to receive. Gratitude is the cause, and the increased abundance is the effect. When you feel grateful now, in your present circumstances, for whatever blessings you currently have, you are aligning yourself with the frequency of abundance. You are telling your subconscious mind, I am blessed, I am provided for. I have more than enough. And your subconscious responds by creating more experiences that match this feeling. Begin each day with gratitude. Before you rise from your bed, before your feet touch the floor, pause and feel thankful for something. It could be your breath, your heartbeat, the roof over your head, the people who love you, the opportunities that lie before you. It does not matter what you are grateful for, as long as you feel the gratitude sincerely. This sets the tone for your day. It impresses your subconscious with a pattern of blessing and opens you to receive more blessings throughout the day. End each day with gratitude as well. Before you sleep, review your day and find things for which to be thankful. Even if the day was difficult, there were moments of grace, small kindnesses, lessons learned, obstacles overcome. Focus on these. Feel grateful for them. Then enter into your pre-sleep impression, imagining your desires fulfilled, and drift into sleep in a state of thankfulness and faith. The scripture says, "In everything give thanks, for this is the will of God concerning you." Not in some things. Not only when things are going well. In everything. This is not about pretending that painful experiences are pleasant. It is about trusting that even in difficulty, there is hidden good, there is growth, there is a working of a larger plan that you may not yet see. When you give thanks in all circumstances, you maintain a mental state that is receptive to blessing. You refuse to let outer conditions determine your inner state. You take dominion over your mind, which is the only true dominion you possess. There is a subtlety here that many miss. Gratitude for what you have and faith for what you desire are not contradictory. They work together. You can be genuinely thankful for your present blessings while also constructing a larger vision in your imagination. In fact, gratitude for the present creates a bridge to the future you are imagining. It says to your subconscious, "I trust the source. I am thankful for what has been given. I am now ready to receive more." This is the attitude that unlocks the flow of abundance. Let us now address the question that troubles many sincere seekers. What about when you do everything right and still nothing seems to happen? What about when you impress your subconscious night after night, feel the reality of your desire, maintain gratitude and faith, and yet the circumstances do not change? Is the law not working? Have you failed? No, the law is always working. But you must understand that there are layers within the subconscious mind. There are beliefs that have been impressed since childhood. There are fears that have been reinforced by years of experience. There are contradictory patterns that may be operating beneath your conscious awareness. When you begin to impress a new belief upon your subconscious, you may encounter resistance from these deeper layers. This is not failure. This is a process of transformation. Think of it as clearing a field. Before you can plant a new crop, you must remove the old growth, the weeds, the debris. This takes time and effort. But once the field is clear, the new seeds take root quickly and produce abundantly. Similarly, when you begin to impress new beliefs of abundance, you may first have to clear away the old beliefs of lack. This happens through persistence. Every time you return to your imaginal act, every time you feel the reality of your desire fulfilled, you are weakening the old patterns and strengthening the new ones. Eventually, the new pattern becomes dominant, and the outer manifestation follows. Do not give up too soon. The greatest failure in using this law is giving up before the shift occurs. Many people plant the seed, water it for a few days, and then dig it up to see if it is growing. In doing so, they destroy the very thing they were creating. You must plant the seed, water it with feeling and faith, and then leave it alone to grow. Trust the process. Trust the law. Trust the infinite intelligence that operates through you and for you. There was a young woman I will call Sarah who desired to start her own business but lacked the capital and the connections. She applied the principles she had learned, imagining herself as a successful business owner, feeling the pride and satisfaction of building something meaningful. She did this for months, but nothing seemed to happen. Her savings remained the same. No investors appeared. No opportunities arose. She was tempted to give up, to conclude that the law did not work for her. But Sarah persisted. She continued her nightly practice. She maintained her faith even when there was no evidence to support it. And then, in the 7th month, everything began to shift. A chance encounter at a social gathering led to a conversation that led to an introduction that led to a partnership offer. Within weeks, Sarah had the funding and the mentorship she needed to launch her business. What had seemed like dead space, like wasted months of nothing happening, had actually been a period of incubation. Beneath the surface, the law had been arranging circumstances, preparing the way, bringing together the elements needed for her desire to manifest. You do not see the roots growing beneath the soil. You do not witness the chemical reactions that transform the seed into the sprout. But they are happening. Trust that they are happening in your life as well. Your persistent impression is doing its work, even when you see no evidence of it. Continue to believe. Continue to feel. Continue to expect. The manifestation will come. Now let me speak about the nature of infinite intelligence and your relationship to it, for this is the foundation upon which all else rests. You are not a separate being struggling alone in a hostile universe. You are an individualized expression of the one mind, the infinite intelligence that underlies all creation. This intelligence is not distant or indifferent. It is within you as a very essence of your being. It is the power that beats your heart, that digests your food, that heals your wounds without any conscious direction from you. It is a wisdom that governs the movement of planets and the growth of forests, and it is available to you in full measure for the fulfillment of your desires and the living of an abundant life. When you impress your subconscious mind with a desire, you are communicating with this infinite intelligence. You are sending a message into the depths of your being, and that message is received by a power that knows how to fulfill it. You do not have to figure out the how. You do not have to know the steps between here and there. The infinite intelligence knows. Your job is to clearly define the what, to feel the fulfillment, and to trust the process. The scripture says, "I will go before thee, and make the crooked places straight. I will break in pieces the gates of brass, and cut in sunder the bars of iron. And I will give thee the treasures of darkness, and hidden riches of secret places." This is a promise of infinite intelligence to those who align themselves with it. The way will be made straight. The obstacles will be removed. The treasures that are hidden from human sight will be revealed. You are not alone. You are not without resources. The entire universe is conspiring to support your unfoldment once you align your mind with the creative law. But this alignment requires a certain humility. Not the humility of self-deprecation, but the humility of recognizing that your conscious mind is not the source of your power. Your conscious mind is a director, the one who chooses a desire and constructs the imaginal act. But the power that brings a desire into manifestation is a subconscious, which is one with infinite intelligence. You must let go of the need to control every aspect of the process. You must surrender the how to the wisdom within. You must trust that once the impression is made, the fulfillment is certain, even if the path looks different than you expected. There was a man I will call Victor who desired to own his own home. He had a clear picture in his mind of the kind of home he wanted, the neighborhood, the feeling of walking through the front door after a long day. He impressed this upon his subconscious night after night. He felt the joy of home ownership. He gave thanks for it as though it were already his. But the path to that home was not what Victor expected. He did not receive a sudden windfall. He did not win a contest. Instead, he received an idea to start a small service business on the side. He felt an inner urge to pursue it, and though it seemed unrelated to his desire for a home, he followed the guidance. The business grew. Within 2 years, the income from it provided the down payment for a home that matched his vision almost exactly. The infinite intelligence had answered his impression, not through magic, but through inspired action that Victor was prompted to take. This is often how the law works. It does not bypass human action. It inspires it. It guides it. It brings opportunities and ideas that, when acted upon, lead to the fulfillment of the desire. You must be attentive to these inner promptings. When you feel a strong urge to take a certain action, to call a certain person, to explore a certain possibility, do not dismiss it. It may be the voice of infinite intelligence directing you toward your good. At the same time, do not strain or force. There is a difference between inspired action and anxious action. Inspired action feels right. It arises naturally from within. You feel drawn to it, not driven by fear or desperation. Anxious action is the opposite. It comes from a sense of lack, from a belief that you must make something happen or it will not happen. This kind of action often backfires because it is rooted in fear rather than faith. Trust the process enough to wait for inspired action. It will come. The law of non-resistance applies here as well. When you try to force an outcome, you are resisting the natural flow of the creative process. You are saying, in effect, I do not trust the law. I must make this happen myself. And in doing so, you block the very power that could bring your desire to fulfillment with ease. Relax. Let go. Allow the law to work. Your job is to impress the subconscious and to follow the guidance that arises. The rest is handled by a wisdom far greater than your conscious mind. I want to speak now about the importance of persistence, for without it, you will not see results. The subconscious mind responds to repeated impression. A single thought, no matter how vivid, rarely makes a deep enough impression to produce lasting change. It is a thought that is repeated night after night, day after day, that eventually becomes a belief, and it is belief that the subconscious acts upon. Think of water dripping on stone. A single drop does nothing, but over time, drop after drop, the stone is shaped, even worn away. Your thoughts are like those drops. A single thought of abundance makes little difference, but abundance thought upon abundance thought, day after day, eventually reshapes your subconscious beliefs. And when the beliefs change, the outer circumstances must change to match. This is why consistency is essential. It is not enough to practice these principles when you are feeling desperate and then abandon them when things improve slightly. You must make them a way of life. Every night, impress your subconscious. Every morning, cultivate gratitude. Throughout the day, guard your thoughts and redirect them when they stray into negativity. This is not burden. It is discipline. And discipline, applied over time, produces freedom. The scripture says, "Let us not be weary in well-doing, for in due season we shall reap if we faint not." In due season, not necessarily in your timing, not necessarily when you expect it, but in due season. The law is operating. The harvest is certain. Your job is to continue planting, continue watering, continue believing. Do not faint. Do not give up. The breakthrough may be closer than you think. There was a salesman I will call Marcus who had been applying these principles for nearly a year without seeing the results he desired. He was tempted to conclude that the law did not work, or that it worked for others but not for him. But something within him refused to give up. He continued his nightly practice, imagining sales coming to him easily, feeling the joy of a thriving career. In the 11th month, Marcus received a call from a company he had contacted briefly at the start of the year. They were ready to move forward with a large order, far larger than anything Marcus had sold before. One sale transformed his year, his confidence, and his belief in the law. But it might never have happened if he had given up in month 9 or month 10. His persistence allowed the subconscious enough time to arrange the circumstances. His faith carried him through the apparent delay. And when the breakthrough came, it was more than he had dared to imagine. You do not know what is being arranged on your behalf right now, in the invisible realm. You do not see the connections being made, the obstacles being removed, the hearts being prepared. But if you are impressing your subconscious with faith and feeling, something is happening. Trust it. Continue. The reward for persistence is a manifestation of your desire. Let me now speak about the relationship between your inner world and your outer world, for this is a key to understanding how transformation occurs. Most people believe that the outer world is primary and the inner world is secondary. They believe that if they can change their circumstances, they will then feel happy, peaceful, and abundant. But this is a great illusion. The truth is the opposite. The inner world is primary. The outer world is secondary. Change the inner, and the outer must follow. This is not merely philosophical. It is practical and demonstrable. Every experience you have ever had began as a state of consciousness. Before you spoke the words, you thought them. Before you took the action, you intended it. Before you experienced the outcome, you believed in its possibility. Consciousness precedes manifestation in every case. Your outer world is literally the crystallization of your inner states. When you understand this, you stop trying to manipulate the outer world directly. You stop pushing against circumstances. You stop fighting battles that cannot be won through force. Instead, you turn your attention inward. You change your beliefs. You alter your feelings. You impress new images upon your subconscious. And then you watch as the outer world rearranges itself to match your new inner state. This is true power. Not the power to control others or to force outcomes, but the power to change yourself and, in doing so, change your experience of reality. This is a power that is always available to you. No one can take it from you. No circumstance can remove it. It is yours by virtue of your existence as a conscious being connected to infinite intelligence. The question is not whether you have this power. The question is whether you will use it. Will you take responsibility for your inner world? Will you guard your mind and direct your imagination? Will you persistently impress your subconscious with a reality you wish to experience? Or will you continue to react to outer circumstances, to complain about your lot, to wait for something external to change so that you can finally feel good? The choice is yours, and it is a choice you make every moment of every day. Choose wisely. Choose deliberately. Choose the inner state that corresponds to the outer life you desire. And then watch as the law, which is always working, brings that life into manifestation. As we draw toward the close of this teaching, I want to remind you of the infinite nature of the source from which you draw. There is no shortage in the universe. There is no limit to the abundance that can flow to you and through you. The only limits are those you impose upon yourself through your beliefs and your habitual thinking. Remove the mental barriers, and the abundance flows. You are not asking the universe for a favor when you desire wealth. You are not taking something that belongs to someone else. You are opening yourself to receive your share of an infinite supply. The sun shines on all equally. The rain falls on the just and the unjust. The abundance of the universe is available to every soul who aligns with it and accepts it. Accept it now. Accept that you are worthy. Accept that you are provided for. Accept that the law is working in your favor at this very moment. Feel the truth of it. Let it sink deep into your subconscious. And from this moment forward, carry yourself as one who knows the secret, who understands the law, and who lives in the constant expectancy of good. The world will respond to you differently when your inner state changes. People will treat you differently. Opportunities will find you more easily. The very atmosphere around you will shift. This is not wishful thinking. This is a natural consequence of aligning your mind with the law of abundance. You become a magnet for good because you have become good in your inner world. You attract wealth because you have become wealthy in consciousness. The outer simply mirrors the inner. I leave you with this final thought. You are the operant power in your life, not circumstances, not other people, not the economy or the government or the past. You, your mind, your imagination, your feeling. These are the tools of creation, and they are in your hands right now. Use them wisely. Use them deliberately. Use them with faith and persistence, and you will witness the transformation of your life in ways that will astonish you and fill your heart with gratitude. The law is working even when you doubt it. It is working now. It will be working tomorrow. The question is whether you will use it consciously to create the life you desire or unconsciously to perpetuate the life you wish to change. The power is the same either way. Only the direction is different. Choose the direction of abundance. Choose the direction of faith. Choose the direction of good. And all the resources of infinite intelligence will flow to you and through you, fulfilling every righteous desire of your heart. Go now in peace. Go in faith. Go in the certain knowledge that you possess within you all the power you need. The kingdom is within you. The supply is within you. The wisdom is within you. All you need to do is claim it, accept it, and allow it to manifest. This is your birthright. This is your inheritance. This is a truth that sets you free. These teachings have been shared with you for educational and inspirational purposes, representing an original creation rooted in the universal philosophy of subconscious mind principles and prosperity consciousness. The ideas presented are intended to uplift, to encourage, and to point you toward the infinite potential that resides within your own being. As with all wisdom teachings, you are invited to apply personal discernment and to take whatever inspired action feels right for you. Your journey is your own, and the power to walk it resides not outside you but within the depths of your own awakened mind. May you go forward blessed, empowered, and forever conscious of the creative law that is working, even now, to bring you the abundant life that is your divine inheritance. And so it is.